Right on. All right. First, really appreciate you guys coming to this session. I know there's a lot of things to come and check out. Glad to have you here with us. So what we've been working on is a way to really shift the way that users interact with data and analytics and business intelligence in the enterprise healthcare management space. And we're going to share with you today what we've been developing, what we have developed, I should say, and how we got there. So our goal here, really is kind of a bold vision for bringing AI and chatbots to enterprise BI for the healthcare space. And if you may not be familiar with the healthcare space, some of you might be, some of you might not be. The healthcare space has really got a very complex data landscape, right? So front office, mid office, back office, you have clinics and emergency facilities, patient scheduling, case management, authorizations, dealing with commercial insurers, government insurers, private payers, a lot of security, a huge variety of vendors, accounting, nuanced billing processes, costing, pricing. I mean, there's a whole lot that goes into this space. And the data landscape itself is also very complex. It's real-time, it's batch, it's financial, it's siloed, it's on-prem, it's cloud-based, it's host systems of all kinds, legacy systems being rolled up that are really old, and some very new things, and trying to bring it all together is kind of complicated. Now, at the same time, while the healthcare management space tends to be kind of slow-moving in adoption, leadership in health management is recognizing that competing on analytics is becoming non-optional. You have to get into this space. You're seeing it as a critical aspect of being successful in business. And what they're going after, what they're demanding in that space, you can see here up on this slide, are ways that they can operate, navigate, and get insights into how their organization is functioning. So the demand is high, and they are actually moving pretty quickly in the adoption of these tools, but they're looking to spread the power of analytics and business intelligence throughout an organization. So for us, we wanted to make it possible for them to do that in a way that was natural, wouldn't require huge learning curves, a way for us to take advantage of the major strides that companies like Google and Apple and Amazon have made in making people comfortable with interacting with bot technology, right? Speaking in colloquial expressions to say what it is that you want so that you can get the things that you need. This allows for a typically slow-moving organization like enterprise healthcare to get into leveraging business intelligence and data analytics in a faster way. So Rich can introduce us to Anna.
So as Colt mentioned, what we've been developing in Anna is the first ever fully automated digital assistant for healthcare analytics. We're going to talk to you about some of how we got there, the architecture behind it, trying to find a good balance between technical and concept, and then just showcasing our solution. So first, I'm just going to jump into a quick high-level demo use case. So this is a layer on top of MicroStrategy. This is our Anna chat UI. So we kind of start with a couple options. I can look for insights, playbooks, recommendations, but I'm just going to ask an example of a natural language. So how are my insurance denials trending, right? Basic, high level, how people ask for information. She's going to parse that, bring me back my trending chart. So I'm going to kind of build on this use case that Anna's acting as a denial analyst, so an analyst for insurance denials within healthcare operations. So from this, you can see I'm getting back a nice clean visualization. I can show related content, I can adjust filters, I can get into recommendations, which I'll get a bit deeper on in a minute. But I'm just going to say, show me related content. I'm going to click on that. And then she's going to break down my denials, or going to actually recommend either a few different reports, where I can get a little bit deeper on that trending analysis. So I'm going to break this down by payer. So I'm going to select it and actually see what's happening with some of my insurers or my payers. Again, kind of nice top-level insight on denied dollars, denied volume, and then my top payers. So you'll be able to see now if I zoom in or double-click on any of these insights, I drill straight down into the MicroStrategy reporting layer. So you can see this is really tightly integrated on top of MicroStrategy. From here, I can further slice and dice. I can add attributes and metrics. I can drill down into the line level detail of the claims. So, lots of tight integration. The real meat and power of the solution has to do with the fact that we have the MicroStrategy engine right underneath it, feeding all the insights and acting as that, and the performance is tremendous. So we've done a lot of tuning, but we got to the point where our performance is really great. There's a lot of steps that I'll show you that we go through to be able to produce that type of a request. So that's kind of high-level overview of the top to bottom. I can go from a natural language request all the way down to granular detail within seconds, depending on what I'm interested in as a user. So I'm going to step back a little bit and talk about how we designed Anna and where we see her going. We designed Anna to become part of the team. So we want her to really focus on, we've really focused on 3 personas for her. So first is the automated analyst. As you can see, I can ask questions to the analyst. She's responding back in near real time. I'm not waiting for insights. All my high-level insights are delivered to me right away. The next is acting as a personal assistant. A lot of our client analysts spend a ton of time collecting data, distributing data, formatting data. We want Anna to more and more take that workload on. So the distribution, the setting of alerts, the subscriptions, Anna will handle sort of that aspect, allowing analysts to focus more on the actual analysis work in data science and the deeper things that they'd like to get to. The third role is Anna actually is going to act as a consultant. So this is where things get really exciting for us, because Anna is not just sort of a question and answer bot. She actually has embedded insights where she can proactively recommend opportunities for return on investment and yield. So we've been training her with our subject matter experts to be able to match requests and analyze signals within the data to recommend operationalizing insights. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But this is, the kind of the 3-role trifecta that we want Anna to play within the organization. So some of the components, we showed you the business intelligence on demand, really focused on that so that it's quick, it's fast, you're getting the insights you need quickly. That's one of our biggest complaints of our executive users is they ask questions on data and it's taking a while for an analyst to create that insight and get back to them. Our widget library is dynamic, so depending on the type of data you're requesting for, the visualization you get back is auto-generated based on the right visualization for that insight. So you noticed before the trend lines are going to show up as line charts and bars. You're going to have donuts and tables when that's more conducive to the visualization. So that happens without the user having to worry about which visualization to select. Our Playbook library is where we bring the consultative piece into this. So we've built out a ton of what we call playbooks that have operational insights, rich opportunity for operators, line workers to drill down into detail. Connecting that with Anna is what creates that sort of consultative persona, which we're really excited about, and I'll show you some more detail on that. At VisitQuate, we're really fanatical about support and help. So now adding Anna to our team on extending that help experience, access to training, access to content is a big part of how we're integrating her into our platform as well. And then our recommendation engine. Our recommendation engine is a big part of this because all the recommended actions, all the recommended playbooks, eventually we want this to be kind of like Amazon shopping, right? So if you're interested in this, you're also interested in that, and we're going to kind of train across our whole user base to make sure that our recommendations get better and better. So let's get into a little bit more of a detailed demo. I'm going to start again kind of where I was, but I'm going to ask a more detailed question with a lot more qualifiers. So in this case, I know you can't read this. It says, what is my denial status by payer for Black Cherry Medical Center where denied amount is greater than $5,000? So what I'm doing is I'm asking a lot of really interesting things here. For those of you who work with MicroStrategy or work with other solutions where you're thinking about attributes and metrics, this is combining filters, it's combining groupings, and it's actually asking for attribute values versus attribute names, because that's how we ask for things, right? We say, show me how many dollars I have with Medicare, not how many dollars do I have with payer equals Medicare, right? So what we've had to do is train our NLP and NLU to understand when I ask for Black Cherry Medical Center, when that request going back to MicroStrategy has to know that Black Cherry Medical Center is a facility, has to know that Medicare is a payer, and then it has to apply those things correctly to be able to create that natural language experience, which is really what we're trying to do. So you can see here, it shows my applied filters, denied amount greater than 5,000, it breaks down Black Cherry, and then it knows I'm talking about current remit month. I could also say for the last 3 months or for the last 6 months or anything like that. And the time framing is obviously a big part of this as well. So the other thing I can do if I want to just add to this, I can just simply say add filter DRG 603, 853, and 1404. So it actually knows it stays within state. It knows that that type of a request is building on my previous insight. So it knows that that's not a new data request. I'm adding on to what I'm doing. So I can kind of verbally slice and dice the data, if you will. I can add this filter, I can drop that filter, I can add a new grouping, I can flip. So it's like verbal slicing and dicing a little bit, if you will, to get to where you want to go and focus in on that insight. Obviously, you always have the lifeline, the double click down to MicroStrategy reporting layer to be able to kind of, do whatever you need to do as more of a power or analyst user. So that's, this is the way that we can really get down into the details, and I hope everyone can see this okay. I'm going to get into the recommendation engine piece a little bit. So based on, if I ask for a recommendation, she's going to respond back with 2 reports and 1 playbook. So you can see the reports are, more detailed by payer, more detailed by DRG. The last few things I've been asking about, she's recommending more insights on those things based on my requests. So if I choose the denial overturns by payer, now I've got, it's going to kind of deepen my analysis by 1 step and show me a few more KPIs related to what I've been asking for, takes me down a little bit more, showing me more operational or complicated KPIs related to that area of interest. On the playbooks, I'm going to showcase this a little bit. We have a ton of these in our platform, and how Anna is connecting the user to it. Each playbook has fundamentally 3 components. It has a description, a recommended action, and an opportunity. So the description just says what it is, why it's interesting. The recommended action shows you as an operational user, worker, in this case it would be a biller or a collector, what should you do? How do you take action on this insight? So it really is sort of a step-by-step mini consulting engagement that's helping people operationalize and create value out of the insights that we're bringing. I can click on the opportunity, and it's going to take me right to a work list within MicroStrategy that I can distribute. Hopefully drill down, yeah. I can distribute, this is the claim line level detail for that opportunity that's showing me these are problem accounts for coordination of benefits, and I should take action on them quickly. So I can distribute this out, and you can see very, very quickly you can get from high level exploration down to really clean operational insights. A little bit high level on how this works. This is highly abstracted for the time frame we have here. But this fundamentally is 2 application components. One is the chat application itself, and one is our platform component, which we call Numero, which integrates directly with MicroStrategy. So the first phase of the chat application is our pre-processing. This is actually about 8 steps in reality. We kind of condensed it for the presentation. But it focuses on name entity recognition. It focuses on pattern recognition, common patterns we know exist in speech for this type of industry-specific use case. It goes into a 3 or 4 step process with spelling, with grammar, with synonyms, all of the types of things that we're taking that natural language, which is often upside down, inside out, depending on how people ask for it, and creating it into something that we can pass to MicroStrategy for that insight. So all the colloquial expressions and everything get kind of scrubbed and cleaned in this phase, and then it goes into our NLU model where we're really focusing on understanding, on intent, what is the user asking for, and then our rules engine kind of just is the final cleanup and tagging that we put on that. So that goes through the JSON API to our platform. It's further basically processed. We use the web SDK to convert it into Java request. And that goes into MicroStrategy as a request for data. MicroStrategy returns it back through the API. We put our recommendation engine on it that gives all the additional recommendations we have, and then it transforms it kind of back into a JSON format to the chat application, which then does the visualization. So I know this is super fast, a lot going on, but this is the high level of how this all comes together from a components perspective.
So just some thoughts on how to get this done if you're looking at accomplishing something similar in an industry vertical that you happen to be operating in. First, the idea of sharpening the focus. So we had the advantage of, first of all, being in a specific industry, and the advantage of working with a specific business unit. VisitQuate has had a data analytics platform in place for healthcare management or enterprise healthcare, and more specifically focused in revenue for the last 8 years, right? So we already had that narrowing going for us. And then we decided we wanted to focus on a specific problem to solve. So the first problem area that we're tackling in enterprise healthcare financial management is denials. It's a big opportunity space. Everybody knows it. The data sets are very standard. So narrowing in that way also made it easier for us to build a chatbot that could converse with somebody using the lexicon of that specific problem to solve. And then we whittled it down even further to a number of intents that Anna is capable of handling out of the box in this initial first iteration. So this is an example of an utterance that comes from a user into Anna. This includes a lot of information that she breaks down when she evaluates what this utterance really means. So the intent is, what is the status of my denials, right? And now beyond the intent, we're looking at the filters, we're looking at the grouping entities. There's a time function here, and then we have the operators in between, different prepositions. Those can change. We had to make it possible for Anna to handle, this is the exact same intent from a user being spoken in many different ways, right? So it has to be possible for Anna to understand you, regardless of the order that you put things in, how you give the time frame, beginning of the year, current year, this year. There's 30 different ways to say this year or from the beginning of this year, right? So we had to make it possible for Anna to work with all this. And in this last example in the bottom right, see denial status by DRG code 721 by payer. Well, that's going to be confusing, right? So I've got by in there twice. Anna's capable of not only handling misspellings and grammatical errors, but also just operational mistakes like this. She can figure out that really what's happening is DRG is supposed to be a filter. So the user should have said for instead of by. But Anna's actually capable of working with those kinds of nuances. In order to make her capable of working with that sort of nuance, it's kind of hard to do. It's pretty intense, right? And right now, there really aren't any shortcuts. This is heavy lifting, and I'm surprised that Anthony still has fingers left for the heavy lifting that had to go into getting us here. But yeah, it's what it takes. And if you want to invest in something like this, the good news is that you will have developed a pretty substantial chunk of intellectual property for having done so. So if you are in an industry-specific vertical and you educate a bot on the lexicon of that vertical, what are the words that they use, the terms that they use, how do they speak when they're asking for things, and what are their key problems, you will have built something that's actually very valuable in that space. And that's something that we have and continue to do, and we're really happy to be standing on this foundation now that we've built. We actually have Anna going into pilot this month, so excited to see how far it's come. Carry on.
So we talked about the training. We're really excited just because of our user base, the type of training that's going to be going into this. So everything from our data experts, our clients' data experts, and most importantly, our client users. This is the training model that we're really excited about on the front end of this. A little bit about how we see this progressing and where we see Anna fitting into the enterprise data landscape. In an iterative or incremental fashion, we see Anna kind of being more the front line for the report consumer. So being able to quickly ask questions, get data quickly in a natural format. Let's just say roughly 80% of the insights that are developed in our clients on a given week are repetitive or predictable, if you will. So making those requests flow very, very smoothly. Obviously, it's easy to slice and dice with some additional attributes. But then also really being kind of a frontline buffer between the actual analyst teams so that there's sort of a bi-directional learning going on. So when Anna can answer something and it goes to the analyst team, she's actually learning on the inbound as well, so that when she's passing a request off to an analyst team, she's going to be learning based on what they're responding with, and that will become part of the learning library of insights that she's now in the future capable of being able to answer. So it's kind of a central piece in that in the industry. A little bit about our roadmap. So now that we've laid the foundation, like Cole mentioned, with denials and a few other things, we have a really good template to kind of turn and burn with a lot of use case where we're going to be expanding this into basically as many areas of the healthcare data ecosystem as we can. So training on new intents and new areas, new data sets is now pretty streamlined for us. So we're going to be focusing on a lot of the operational pieces and then getting more into the patient experience with disease management, population health, and some of the the other areas like that. All of our stuff comes with Playbooks. We want to potentially partner with content creators as well so that the data and the insights within platform become much richer and more broad. As well as we do see Anna there being a component where she does act like Alexa does and can actually recommend or sell other third-party data products and financial services that improve the patient experience. Technical, we have a few things we want to do on the new upgrades with MicroStrategy, leveraging the JSON APIs and the JavaScript API to make the visualizations more cohesive. You saw how you're kind of in MicroStrategy for visualization or you're in our app. We're going to actually be able to pull the MicroStrategy visualizations directly through into our app with the JavaScript API and have a little bit of a tighter integration there. So that's kind of a next phase for us on the technology side.
Right on. All right, well, to give you this much, we had to basically talk like auctioneers.
Yeah.
We could have done 6 more of these on the other topics that we have to cover. If you have questions, you're interested in other areas, how we got here, anything along these lines, we're here, our technical team is here. We're happy to speak with you. So just kind of like wanted this slide up here to give you a sense of the kind of other subject areas that we could cover with you. But right now, I think it makes sense to open it up for questions. We have, I think, about 4 minutes left. Thoughts from the audience? How is it sold? Packaged?
Yeah, so the standard model is it's a service and technology package. So it's a full solution from a platform. It's a platform license and a services package is how our traditional thing is sold. Yeah. Yeah, so since our platform does actually include the data integration and the cloud hosting, we have a number of different sizings. So we do named user, we do data sizing, and then we do data complexity coefficients to kind of get to that overall pricing model.
Does Anna reside on the MicroStrategy application or is it separate? How do we access Anna?
Right. So yes, it is a separate application. It's integrated with MicroStrategy. So the showcase is the APIs and the powerful aspect of being able to build applications on top of MicroStrategy's API layer.
So does Anna pull reports that are already made in MicroStrategy, or does she actually create the data sets as well?
That intelligence stays in MicroStrategy, right? So the report creation, the report development is in MicroStrategy. Well, the cool thing about that is adding things to Anna's library or learning is as simple as creating it in MicroStrategy and loading it. So we want to keep that within MicroStrategy, and Anna is really the NLP engine to match and bring the process, the language, but we're not recreating what MicroStrategy is already great at on the back end. So basically, the way that it's done is there's a lot of base reports, right, and base landing packages for data. So all the attributes and metric combinations that you have available, yes, she can deliver, right? If there's things outside of that data model that need to be added, they would need to be created in MicroStrategy or reports added in MicroStrategy, and then it's basically kind of a load into the library. And right now we're sort of doing some semi-manual on the intents and things like that to make sure that everything is tuned. But then as we get more volume into the system, it'll become more and more automated.
When the reports get created on the MicroStrategy side, the integration with Anna is set up the verbiage, I guess, that it knows that the reports come in and this is the verbiage to ask for that report.
Yeah, so if there's something really new about the inside of the report that gets created, either a totally new category or a new type of request, then we would train that into our intent model, our NLP model on the front end as well. So there's the back end integration, but if it's similar, we can match it. If it's really different, then we need to update some of the NLP side as well.
What were you saying about opportunities to sell patient services?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do is integrate. We sort of act like a clearinghouse for our clients. So we will ping TransUnion for information about household size and income. We'll ping for claim status from different third-party data vendors, Equifax, Experian, those types of organizations as well. So a lot of the time when we're identifying opportunity in sort of risk segmentation, the outcome or the recommended action is, hey, you guys should buy this additional data set from this preferred partner because it'll help you really turn it'll make your analysis more intelligent or your workflow more intelligent. So basically having Anna be that intermediary to be able to recommend those third-party products and services that would move the needle for our clients. We already do it today ourselves, but that just kind of tightly integrating that recommendation is part of our vision.
I think we made it. But if you guys have more questions, we'll be right outside. Happy to continue the conversation.
Yep, there's another group coming in, so we got to turn and burn. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you.